The treatment of cancer in Africa has been given a major boost thanks to a joint venture between the University of Cape Town and the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, who have partnered with Varian Medical Systems to bring their International Access to Care training program to Africa. It was launched recently at Groote Schuur Hospital in Cape Town. The TechBusters team chatted to Professor Jeanette Parks, head of the Department of Radiation Oncology.
This device is similar to a flight simulator for pilots. It is a simulator for a linear accelerator, which is a machine that treats cancer patients with radiotherapy. So the flight simulator is basically a screen. It's a screen that you can see in 3D by wearing a special pair of glasses. It operates from a hand control, which is controlled by a computer, and the hand control allows this virtual linear accelerator to operate in exactly the same way as a normal machine would in a cancer department. So we can show a patient on the bed, any kind of patient, we can put a mask on the patient, we can show the lines, the reference lines that we use to set up the patient. We can teach the radiographers how to set up the patient. We can show them how errors impact on patient treatment. We can see the actual beams of radiotherapy coming out of the machine and where they hit the patient, how they hit the patient. We can make sure that it's hitting the tumor correctly in the right manner, that it's missing the normal structures. And we can also see CT scans in 3D inside the patient on this device. So we can look inside the patient, we can see exactly what's happening with each of the organs, and we can see the dose that each organ receives from the radiotherapy.
Well, the first thing we identified is we are using radiation to treat cancer patients, and in medicine they often say first do no harm. One of the risks of radiation is that you use it with the aim of doing benefit, but you can end up doing a great deal of harm to these patients. The new devices that have been systematically rolled out in the last couple of years are highly technical, which means the risk of something going wrong with the radiation increases more and more. And many of the teams in Africa are not trained to deal with that level of technicality. And they also realize that the best people to teach it were the people in Africa for Africa that have a better understanding of where we are, what is our history, and allow a safe transition throughout it.
This department has got an agreement that's been set up between the University of Cape Town and the Cape Peninsula University of Technology and Varian Systems to provide teaching courses to teach cancer professionals throughout Africa how to deliver modern, high-quality radiotherapy. And we realized that in order to do that, we could not afford to have these professionals visiting our department for a month at a time and being trained on our machines, which run a busy service. So Varian approached VERT, which is a company based in the United Kingdom, who have developed this flight simulator for radiotherapy training. And their contribution, one of their contributions to this agreement is to provide this equipment to our department in order to train health professionals. Cancer is increasing throughout the world, we know this, and what we know further is that about 70% of cancers by the year 2030 are likely to be in the developing world, not in the developed world. So we, in the developing world, will be responsible for treating 70% of the world's cancer, and we are not equipped to do that. We don't have the machines to do it, and we don't have the personnel to work those machines. So from Varian's point of view, their interest is commercial. It is in getting linear accelerators into those countries, and many of the countries' governments are buying modern machines to provide radiotherapy. They're aware of this impending crisis and they're buying machines to cope with it. And our strategy is to train professionals who are able to work those machines in such a way that we get high quality radiotherapy and less side effects in the patient. So yes, we're hoping that these courses will affect the outcome of patients with cancer who live in developing countries, specifically from our point of view in Africa. In developing countries, one of our main challenges is patients presenting late. So we often deal with quite advanced cancers in our setting. However, in many of the countries throughout Africa, there are big screening programs that are starting to screen for cancers, especially cervical cancer and breast cancer, prostate cancer, and finding those cancers earlier on so that these patients are curable. So There's a challenge in terms of the numbers of patients that we're starting to see coming through from these screening programs, but there are further challenges in terms of the equipment that's available to treat them. So we don't have enough linear accelerators, we don't have enough scanners, CT scanners, and what we definitely don't have is enough personnel who've got the knowledge to accurately treat those cancers.
Our biggest challenge on this project that we were trying to do something for which a model didn't exist. From a financial business point of view, we were trying to get various universities to talk to each other. Have you ever tried that? We had to incorporate a corporate partner to it and execute it in a government facility. So the minefield of collaboration was the first hurdle, to get these parties to agree to a business model that will allow for the creation. The good news is that this business model can be used elsewhere. We have proved here that this is transplantable. The whole bird system, we can set up satellites in the rest of Africa. So the initial problem was getting past that. Our current problem now is to get these teams to come here, get through the excitement of the initial training, then go home with the reality of their real world, with bureaucracy, with differences between the professions, people that do not traditionally really talk to each other, and to implement that new integrated approach to radiotherapy versus I'm a doctor, I'm a medical physicist, and I'm a radiographer. We have to get that model to combine, because if we can do that, these sites can run more effectively. So I think that is our biggest challenge. If we educate the people, as Nelson Mandela said, the biggest weapon that we have to change our world, and especially Africa, is education. If we can educate them and empower them, they can go further and do the next role out in their own environment.
As a pet owner, what's your worst nightmare? Surely your dog running out and running away must be right up there. But the Zupa Pet facial recognition app has you covered on this front.
Zupa is a mobile pet application for pet owners that have a social inclination. It's got various features, from a social feed, where similar to like a Facebook aspect, where you can upload pictures and thoughts of what you're doing. It picks up places that are around you. It shows adoptions that are in your area or from the places that are around you. So in this case, like Irwin's has adoptions that show up, so that you can adopt a pet directly through the system, or you can browse through, get in contact with the relevant place. It's got everything from pounds, kennels and catteries, all vets loaded onto the system. It's got the ability to play a game of who's cuter, so you can just go and compare two different pets together and pick the one that you think is cuter, and it just matches it at the back based on people's ranking and algorithms to say, well, this pet is cuter than the next one, kind of thing. So it's just a bit of a fun side to it. It's got the ability to make friends of people that have a similar interest. So I've got an Alsatian, you've got an Alsatian, you swap yes on my Alsatian because you think it's a nice dog, I swap yes on yours, it will automatically match in the back end and allow us to chat over anything from where you walk your dog to where you're going to take your dog to the closest vet, or what was your experience with this specific place. Now within that, Places also has the ability to have ratings, so you can go and rate your experience as a user for a specific place. So if I go to a vet and I don't like their service, I can rate them as a 1, or if I think they're fantastic, I can rate them as a 5. And the ratings work out a 1 out of 5. So you can then go and view other people's ratings and what their experiences have been at the various places.
We've actually loaded a few of our dogs that are looking for homes onto Zupa, and then ones that are adopted obviously get put onto Zupa, so that if they do go missing, then we can allocate them as soon as possible. And I think it broadens the aspect of us trying to find dogs homes, so people can just go sit at home and look on their phone and look at all the adoptions and say maybe they want to adopt this dog. It has all the details on it of the animal, so it will tell you what age it is, if it's a social dog, what size, and what it looks like. You know, if it's okay with cats and with kids. So you can sit at home and just look through the app and hopefully fall in love with one of our dogs. So that's why it is helping us a lot.
Just to expand on what Tanya was saying with the ease of the way that the app works, when you first download the application, it's going to ask you to log in. Now, there's two ways. You can either use a Facebook login, or you can go and set up a Zupa account. Now, either way, it doesn't really matter which one you use. When we use the Zupa account or Facebook, the primary things that we're needing there is an email to be able to contact you on, because of the things like the deep learning algorithm, if your pet is lost or found and that kind of stuff. So that's the main side of it. So it's really, you can have it as simple as a one-click to log into the app and start using it, or alternatively you can add in a couple more details if you want to create your own login.
So the Zupa Pet app, when you register the Zupa Pet app, when you actually download it, the first thing that you need to do is you need to register, you need to add your pet to the My Pet screen. So the application requires you to add various photos. Now the reason why we add the pictures is it's extremely important, because our deep learning neural network location-based algorithms need the photographs to actually be able to return your pet home if it ever gets lost. So for example, once you load your pet in, it will require you to add certain information like its ear type, its breed, its color, whether it's got a chip or not. And once that information is in the system, we store it in the system in case your pet ever gets lost. The other features on the application is if your pet does get lost, you mark, the system allows you to mark the pet as lost, because it's most important that the earlier you mark your pet as lost, the better chance you are of recovering your pet. So once you mark the pet as lost, it'll notify every vet within 50 Ks and all Zupa users within a 5K radius immediately. So it basically allows, like your neighbors, like your friends, to immediately be on the lookout for your pet to be able to retrieve it home. But while that's happening, our neural network algorithm is working in the background, searching pet photos that are coming in from other guys that are loading all lost pets, and we're basically matching that. And if we find a match, we will notify you immediately. So it's very similar to a human fingerprint, but we've taken it an extra step further, whereby you are able to capture a photograph of a lost pet, and the pet doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily have to take a full-on facial recognition picture, because normally when you see a pet in the street, it's quite aggressive or quite scared. So you'll take a picture, the best picture that you can, and we'll use that location and every feature on that picture. We'll use 1,000 points on the picture to identify whether it's your pet or not. Another area of the application is the social network side of it. So here I've arrived at Irwin's and I've gone into the neighbor component, and it shows me that there's new pets in the area that want to become my friend. So every single new pet that gets loaded in the area will come up on your Zupa device. And so if your pet wants to make another friend with another pet, this is basically what the Zupa ecosystem will do for you. Another area with the mobile device is if you happen to see a lost dog, or you've seen a pet that was run over by a car, the first thing you do is, where is the vet? I've got to take this dog to a vet. You'll pick up the Zupa application and it will immediately know where you are, and will be able to route you by navigation to the closest vet, so you can actually save that pet's life. Most importantly is like what Irwin's Animal Rescue Centre do, is they load their pets for adoption onto the system, and you can be sitting at home looking at the pets that they put on the system, and you can get directly in contact with Irwin's to adopt a pet directly from them.
Well, that's all we have time for this week. Remember to tweet us at TechBustersSA. I'm at Shapshak. He is at Aki Anastasio. And we'll see you again soon.
And we'd love to hear your comments. Tell us how technology is changing your life. Are you using any of these devices that monitor your health, for example? Email us techbusters@abn360.com or tweet us at TechBustersSA. I'm Aki Anastasio. He's Mr. Toby Shapshak. At Shapshak, he's known as on Twitter. We'll see you next week.